What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Going Gear EDC Club premium subscription, this time around for February 2024. There are two tiers to the subscription. You've got your standard, $60 a month, gets you 2 to 5 EDC items, or you can opt for the premium, which is what we do. And that one's $200 a month, gets you everything in your standard, plus at least one additional premium EDC item. And so worth noting, this one is super early compared to when we usually see this. This is usually the last subscription we unbox every month, but it's actually the second this month. So definitely an early box, which is fun to see. Now, I'm going to start with the standard, work my way from least expensive to most expensive before transitioning over to that premium. And as usual, I already have everything unboxed. You don't have to watch me fumbling around with packaging or anything like that. So let's dive right in with the first item in the standard box, the EDC Keychain Clip in black. These are valued at $3.95, non-branded, not a whole lot going on here, but super simple and keeps the price down, which is nice. This has this gate here that you can clip your keys to. It's pretty stout, but not a locking gate. Also has this nylon strap that is removable, so you can strap that onto your belt if you want to use it for an EDC keychain. I'm probably more likely going to strap it to the outside of a bag, maybe on some molly webbing or something like that, for an additional attachment point on the bag itself. Definitely don't mind seeing this in there though, especially at that price point of $3.95. If this were branded, it would probably be like an $8 item instead of $4 item. And so kind of cool that they threw that one in there. Now next up this month is from Kaiser, but it's not a knife, it's actually a knife roll. So this is valued at $14.95. I believe these are all also going to be gray because the letter mentions Kaiser Gray D003. So just took a look at that Roaring Fire tool roll, really enjoyed that, so excited to get another similar roll. This one's more for knives. It's definitely on the smaller side, but a decent size overall. It has this nice leather Kaiser patch on the outside that you can swap over to another pouch or just throw it on your patch wall, or you can leave it attached to this roll. Now, same Velcro that patch is using is how this is secured closed. So let's go ahead and get it open, take a look at some of those internal organization pockets. So you can see there are 8 pockets on the internal section of this roll. A lot different layout than our Roaring Fire roll, but 6 wider pockets. These are going to accommodate almost any folding knives. They're decent width, so there's maybe a couple knives that are too wide for this, but most standard knives should fit in here no problem whatsoever. Then you have these 2 slimmer pockets on the right hand side. Those are going to be more appropriate for like a pen or a bit driver, maybe a slim knife, but it is pretty slim. It looks like it's probably about an inch or so wide there. Now, worth noting, this has a stacked pocket construction, so they're going to cannibalize the space from the one in front or behind it a little bit. So if you have a really thick knife in the back pocket, you may want to consider leaving that front pocket empty or putting a really slim item up there because it will bulk out and be a little bit of a tight fit. Now, if they do fit, the nice thing about rolls is that you can roll these up kind of loosely and they really do expand quite a bit, which again, we showed in that Roaring Fire video. And so they expand quite a bit. If you can fit it, it will most likely roll up and secure closed. And so valued at $14.95, not taking up a ton of the value either. And really like seeing stuff like this. It's just a little bit different and a cool way to store some of the gear that maybe you got from previous subscriptions. So last item is going to be our main item in the standard box, and then we'll get into that premium. But really cool main item this month. It's from CIVBE, and this one is a knife. It's the Storm Howl, and this is valued at $74.80. A little bit of a wild handle, but I like it. I'm digging it. It's a aluminum handle, this nice blue color, and then it's got the raw color on those raised lines, and it really gives the effect of snow. This is a very wintry looking knife to me, but I do dig it. It's not going to be for everyone, so maybe this is, you know, kind of make or break for the standard box. If you don't like this item, there's not a whole lot of value in the other two. It's really tied up in this one, but I think it's pretty cool, so definitely don't mind seeing in there. Aluminum handles, so it's pretty lightweight. Flipper deployment and a button lock, and that flipper is super snappy. Really nice blade shape. I love the blade shape on this one. Feels pretty good in hand. It's a relatively large knife. They don't give the dimensions in the letter, so we'll have to save that for the video. But for its size, it does feel a little bit tight for a 4-finger grip just because you're stuck behind that flipper tab, but still pretty comfortable overall. That jimping is really effective. worth noting, it has a super slim blade here as well. That blade stock is much thinner than a lot of my other knives. My calipers are broken, so can't measure that out, but that flipper tab works well. You can see barrel standoffs, no backspacer or anything like that, and the button works really, really well. This is probably my 5th, I think, CIVBE button lock, and by far the best button lock of any in my collection. The first 3 or so that I got were pretty good. There wasn't a ton of button stick or anything like that, but they were really bouncy. This one seems to be really dialed in, where it just kind of drops shut and stays shut. Feels really, really good. So really impressed that how far they've come since those early button locks, because the first few that I got, I think, were the first ones that CIVBE released, and they've really dialed it in the last year and a half or two since I picked those up. Now, last thing on this one before we get into our premium box is it does have a reversible pocket clip. Really nice. I do like this pocket clip in general. Pretty stout. Now, it's reversible, but you can see on either side there's no landing spot for where that pocket clip lands. So you're going to be sitting right on top of that textured portion, meaning that this will probably destroy some pockets if you're sliding it in and out of your pockets repeatedly. And so just wanted to point that out because that pattern is there and they didn't clear it out for the pocket clips. Now, the pattern does add a little bit of grippiness, but it's mostly side to side grippiness, not up and down grippiness, because you kind of just slide up and down on these, but it does keep you from sliding forward onto that blade, which the flipper tab also does pretty effectively. But overall, pretty impressed with this at $74.80. Bringing our total standard value up to $93.70. So about 150% of what we paid. Not quite as high as we've seen on some of the recent boxes, but I'm pretty happy with the items overall, so I don't mind that. Now, getting into our premium, we actually got 2 items this month, which is not super common. It's happened a couple times, but more often than not, you get a single item taking up the full value of your premium. So kind of excited to see 2 items, and they're 2 unrelated items. Some of the past ones we've seen, it was kind of a bundle deal where all of the items are related. In this case, they're 2 very separate ones. So starting with the less valuable, or less expensive at least, the Ben Leathercraft leather wallet. And this is a handmade leather wallet in Atlanta, Georgia. Really love seeing that here. Some local items and kind of small mom and pop shop, and it seems to be really well made. Now, this format of wallet isn't one that I would typically go after. Has these side by side credit card slots, and then this back slot where you could probably put some folded cash back there, receipts and things like that. But I'm not sure how this is even meant to be held. It'll slide into my back pocket. Definitely tried that out as soon as I got it. But I think it's probably more meant for like your interior jacket pocket or something like that. And so I'll probably give this a shot just to try it out, but mostly going to carry it in that interior jacket pocket because I really don't like putting wallets in my back pocket if I can avoid it. You end up sitting on it, supposedly bad for your back, but also it just doesn't feel secure. I feel like I'm a lot more secure of getting like pickpocketed or something like that when it's in my front pocket, where my hands are always somewhat nearby my front pockets. And so I like front pocket carry, so this will most likely be like if I have a jacket with an interior pocket, I'll swap over to this wallet to give it a shot. But really nicely done. You can see authentic handmade Ben Leathercraft in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is valued at $69, so nice. And gonna be, they do have a Etsy store, so I'm going to link to that in the description of this video. Doesn't seem like they have a ton of items in there, but I would imagine these being handmade, they're constantly refreshing and changing that stuff out. So I'll link to that in the description of this video as well. Also not sure if they do different colors, but I do like this black with this gray threading. I think that looks really nice. And then I didn't point out this logo here in the bottom corner. But overall, nice looking wallet. Pretty large. It's like a 4x6 index card looking in size. I don't think they give the measurements of that either, so if I do a full review on that one, I'll give those measurements there, but I'm sure they're listed on the Etsy listing. Now, last item in our premium is a brand that I think every item I have from them is from Going Gear, which I'm really happy about because I've been very happy about all of those items. So it's from AceBeam, and it's their Terminator M2. Wicked looking flashlight. Love the looks of this. I love the name of it, Terminator. You can see has these dual tubes. So on the top side for you is the floodlight, and then on the bottom we have this spotlight. And so really cool construction, a little bit of a weird ergos. It doesn't feel super natural in hand. It feels like I'm kind of reaching for the button, but I love the looks of this, and it has a lot of really cool functionality. So outside of the floodlight and the spotlight, we also have some auxiliary lights, a red SOS, all operating on an 18650 battery. And so you can see there's a pretty simple switch here. Has the floodlight on top, and then you switch it down for the spotlight, there's also a way to get both on at the same time from either switch position, and all of the functions are controlled by this button in the back. So single click gets us into our memory mode. I believe I left it in the moonlight or low mode. Don't remember all of the individual lumens, but this is the natural white version with a 2000 lumen max. And so you can just hold that button once it's on to cycle it through all of the different modes, and then it goes back into your low mode. It does, like I said, have that memory. You can single click to turn it back off. If we double click it, we'll jump into that 2000 lumen turbo mode. Super bright, as you can see, throwing off a ton of heat. Turning it back off, or you can cycle from there actually, so if I'm in here, I hold it, it will go back into our low mode. And then turning it back off, triple click actually gets us into a dual mode. So I'm gonna flip it up, so if you don't wanna be blinded by it, maybe look away for just a second, but you'll see that both of those lights are actually on at the same time. So we have our floodlight and our spotlight, which is kind of a cool mode overall. Now, to get into lockout mode, you can hold this for 3 or 4 seconds. I haven't actually read the instructions on it, so I'm missing one mode. I haven't found the red SOS, but I'm sure it's in the instructions. And then you can hold it for 1 second or so, but less than the 3 seconds to get into this auxiliary lighting mode, which I have to imagine is just for signaling or for fun. I'm not sure. It's not super bright. It doesn't throw off a ton of light, but it cycles through those 7 different light modes repeatedly, and so kind of cool too. Maybe if I hold this actually. Oh yeah, that does get us into our solid red mode. Maybe I hold it again, and it just kind of goes back. So I still don't know where the red SOS is, but let's flop over to that spotlight, and this is going to be a much tighter hotspot. You'll see it's super bright. It gives a really nice beam, especially in the dark. It's hard to show because you can't see the beam fully lit up here with the camera lighting, and then when I shine it down at the table, it's just that super tight hotspot. But really nice throw on this, really nice beam, and really cool that you have both options on a single flashlight. It makes this pretty versatile, and it's valued at $139.90, which I think is warranted for all the different functionality, the amount of light this throws out of there, and it's just a cool design. I think AceBeam has some really cool designed flashlights, and this one looks super tactical. It does have this pocket clip on here, but it's not a like reversible pocket clip or two-way pocket clip, so not something you can really clip to your hat. I guess you could, but it would be facing your head instead of outwards. So more for just kind of carry than actual clipping it to something and using it for that. Looks like a pair of mini binoculars or something, but really cool to see that in there. And yeah, I think this was a killer box overall from the premium to the standard. Our premium had a value of $208.90. You pay $140 more than your standard, but it brings our total for both of them up to $302.60. So we're getting about a 150% value, which is pretty standard. I know we've seen some pretty ridiculous ones over the last couple months where it makes that feel like a lot less, but that's pretty much what you can expect most months from Going Gear, and I think that's worthwhile as long as you like the items that come in the box. But would love to hear your thoughts on this one down in the comments below, what your favorite items were, if you think it hit the value, if you like the standard items better or the premium items better, and anything else you'd like to comment. Love chatting with everyone in the comment section. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification button. All help the channel out a ton, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.